Hello, my friends, and welcome. Welcome back to another session with the older man. Yes, my friends, today I'm back with another juicy topic. We're going to talk about China and men being red-pilled in China. Listen, ladies, you guys have no idea how well you had it. This is the problem with women. You have no idea how great, how amazing you had it when men were doing stuff for you. When you had men fooled about how angelic, how beautiful, how adorable you were. But no, you had to go and switch it up and show men your true nature and demand more and more and more and more and more and more until men woke up and said, what the hell? No more. No mas. Nah. No. No. 9. How many languages were that? Oh, man. And let me explain what I mean by this. I'm going to make her explain it nicely because this woman sees the problem.
To put it very bluntly, a man's awakening is the beginning of a woman's sorrow. This has become an undeniable fact. Why are there still some girls who continue to have the consciousness of gender benefits, thinking they are superior when things don't go their way? Oh, please open your eyes and see the real world. Men are increasingly choosing to lie flat and not get married. And there are still naive girls who, taking advantage of the scarcity of men, threaten them. They think that being scarce makes them valuable, and that when men marry them, they should support them and satisfy their insatiable greed. Please stop this behavior that shows a lack of intelligence. This is forcing men to give up looking for partners and to avoid marriage altogether. Everyone is stepping back, and good girls also suffer the consequences. Each one is hurting themselves and putting at risk what their parents have built. Are you not becoming more humble? When men are pushed to a certain point, they can really distance themselves from women and they won't die from it, right? The money they earn through hard work, isn't it better to spend it on themselves? The time and energy they invest in themselves, isn't that satisfying? Why should they spend a large part of their energy and wealth on women? Buying houses, cars, and paying dowries, and acting like a servant, always taking care of the princess's emotions? Do they have a tendency to become masochists? I ask you, I have been a matchmaker for 5 years. To be honest, the men I meet are becoming more and more aware. Don't you love to drink poison soup? Then keep drinking it until you're 60 years old. And there's still a wave of people trying to tear others down, actively sharing in my comment section stories about how a woman married 3 times ended up marrying a prince in Dubai. Dear girls who write to me, stay firm and keep your expectations. When you're old and lying in bed with no one to take care of you, your Prince Charming will surely arrive on his white horse, even if he is late. If you believe that, keep your expectations high. And for those who can see the truth, ask yourselves, when you're sick and lying in bed with no one to take care of you, I want to see if this poison soup still works.
Wow, I am speechless, absolutely speechless. For those you ladies who have came at me time and time again when I keep telling you your expectations are ridiculous, where men have now woken up, me included. Listen, I was one of those idiots. I was one of those idiots that just gave and gave and gave and gave to women. You've heard me talk about it many times on this channel. I was a simp. You've heard me talk about this in great detail when I explain why it is important not to give a woman everything. This woman in China just broke it down for you in its rawest form because she sees it in a country. So even in a country that has many more men than women, women are still having a hard time finding a man.
As of recent statistics, the overall sex ratio in China is about 105 males to 100 females. For the unmarried population, the ratio can be skewed, with more single men than women, especially in certain age groups and rural areas.
Thank you. There you go.
Do you know why men are no longer willing to pursue women? The current social atmosphere has become somewhat strange. Society is becoming harsher on men and more lenient towards women. Women can simply ask for a car and a house, then play the victim, saying they have to take care of the family, have children, do housework, and cook, as if it's a huge sacrifice. Sorry, you can live by yourself then. I was once at the bottom of society without a house or a car. I remember one winter when I couldn't even afford heating. Back then, I had a girlfriend. I didn't expect her to be very beautiful or have a great figure, nor did I expect her to be like the cute female characters on TV, good at housework, or both a great cook and socially charming. I didn't make much money, and she didn't work, so to survive, we had to live frugally. Maybe you think I was really lucky. She wasn't materialistic, right? Well, let me ask you, do you believe she gave me the silent treatment for 4 years? I put up with it for 4 years, trying my best to please her because I really couldn't make enough money to support the lifestyle she wanted. Now, I'm 36, and it's been many, many years since we broke up. But even now it's hard for me to think about it. It's not because she broke up with me, but because I tried so hard to change and worked tirelessly to make money. And what about her? After treating me coldly, she decided, in her words, that I was a failure who couldn't achieve anything. And then she wanted to break up. She said any man she found would be better than me. And when I begged her not to leave, I'll never forget the look of disgust on her face. After so many years together, and in the beginning we genuinely liked each other. I think if I had raised a dog for a few years, and it begged me like that, I would have felt sympathy. I feel a little sorry for myself too. Maybe you'll think I'm joking. My hometown is a rural area in Jining, Shandong. There, for a girl to accept a blind date, she starts by asking for a dowry of 380,000 yuan, and even her looks are average. And still, you have to line up just to meet her. I want to tell you this is common where I'm from. These girls, who are courted by the poor, will never marry a truly excellent man. As my financial situation gradually improved, I noticed that the women around me were more willing to engage equally. During my toughest times, my current partner used her credit card and sold her house to support my business. But my ex-girlfriend, who held 30,000 yuan that I had saved, didn't give me a cent when I needed it. Now, I have millions saved from my business. With my current partner, I know many married women who, when they see other families with nice things they can't afford, go home and complain that their husbands aren't ambitious enough. And the men? They face enormous pressure at work, and when they come home, instead of comfort, they get more complaints. Why don't you spend time with me? Why are you playing games again? Why don't you give me more money? Honestly, nowadays, I haven't met many women who don't add more stress to their husbands.
So what I am trying to get across to you, even with this massive skew, the men are not choosing the women. And because of this problem, I'm sure a lot of these women think that they are the prize. But the men are not marrying them. Even the men have literally gone magto. Men going their own way. The men are not looking to marry the women in China because the demands are so ridiculous. So now, what happens? The women start crying.
More aware now. They no longer cling to you. Nor are they desperately giving you gifts, sending red envelopes, buying this, buying that. Because boys have realized that. Even if I buy, it doesn't help. If a girl likes me, she won't make me spend a dime. And she'll still be with me. If you don't like me, no matter how much I spend, in the end, I'm just supporting someone else's girlfriend. What's the use? Also, many boys now don't make promises without seeing results. If you don't want to confirm a relationship with me, right? Sorry. I won't spend a penny on you. Don't even think about it. So, now many girls are also feeling bad. They are very conflicted. If you're not willing to spend time or money to pursue me, why should I be your girlfriend? Boys, they just go into a passive state. If you don't want to confirm a relationship with me, I won't spend a penny on you. If you want to enjoy someone pursuing you, then go find someone else. I'm not the right fit. So, the awareness of boys has been shaped by the torment caused by girls over the past few years, which has tortured them into self-awareness.
Do you understand that? It has tortured them into self-awareness. The red pill. These men have woken up, just like this channel is waking up men to the BS that women are pushing on them. This is no different. It's just that Chinese women are saying it. They are saying it. They're basically saying, okay, we're screwing up. This is what I would like to see happening in the West on a massive scale. Women waking up and realizing, okay, what we're doing is influencing the dating market. Because she said it. These women and their outrageous demands on a man and his resources, which is very difficult to acquire in today's day and age because too many workers are on the market. So she's just saying the quiet part out loud. Let's hear from a man.
The awakening of boys basically happens after the age of 25. After experiencing relationships, they understand the importance of money, learn to be good to others, giving their all, but realizing it is of no use. Between people, everything is an exchange of interests, and the most important thing for a man is to make money, build a career. If you focus on your career, you can't afford to invest all your time in women. After 2 years, you might just end up being a nice guy. So, I keep emphasizing that you should invest in yourself, raise your own value, and the one who really cares about you is the one who gave you up. But if you are now, between 25 and 30 years old, spending your days thinking about love and crying, caught up in trivial matters, then you have basically become irrelevant.
Oh, man. I sound like I'm listening to my message and Mr. Samuel's message and the Fresh and Fit message and all the Western men who are pushing and explaining to men that they have been getting screwed with this whole feminization of the West that has now infiltrated the rest of the Eastern world in China. Men are now waking up. You've already seen a massive decline in birth rates in China. Massive. Because the same thing is happening over there. I would love to see what China is going to do next. I don't know, man. Because if they were bold enough to implement the one-child policy, what's next? When birth rates start to drop, I know China is not going to become like Japan, which is literally a dying society. I know China is not going to become like South Korea. Both and Japan are going to be dead, literally non-existent. They can't replace their army. They can't replace their people in 100 years. China is a very, very wise, old country, and it will do something about it. I'm sure they will start to implement something like mandatory marriages and weddings at a certain age, and you better produce a certain amount of kids, otherwise you won't get paid. Something is going to happen. I know. I won't be around to see it, but I'm just speculating that if there's a country that says you can only have one child and being able to implement it, they can also do the reverse. Let me know what you think. But this, my friends, is a problem. Now, one of my viewers on my last video that I did on, what was that one? On why women are furious with Bumble dating. He wrote a comment. He said this simple thing, the same thing that is said in China. Chase women and lose money. Chase money and gain women. It's your choice, man. And that was sent to me by Grey Owl 1750. Thanks for that comment, brother. And ladies, if you really want to understand how frustrated men are and why they're just not putting up with your BS, because men don't need you. This is the problem. You keep telling yourselves that you don't need a man. You do need men. You're not capable of functioning in this world because you're not like men.
So lonely. I don't think I ever expected being in a situation where I am actively trying to make connections and not being able to do so. That is strange. And that feels like a product of age. It feels...
I've said it many times. You'll find life a lot harder without a man. You need the financial support of a man simply because it costs more to support yourself than it is for a man to support himself. Your so-called upkeep, just the cosmetics alone, is ridiculously high. And then add to that, everything that you need done that requires a man's help is going to cost you money, whereas a man can do it himself. That's the difference. And for you to grow, and I was explaining this to a lady yesterday who was trying to explain to me that, well, I make enough money, I can support myself. Now she's 57 years old. And so I asked her, do you have a retirement plan in place? Do you have any money put away for the future? She didn't answer me. She sidestepped the question, which I know full well she doesn't. Because I can look at her and see that every single dime she has have gone to freaking luxury products and consumer goods. But she's single. So I said to her, listen, do you realize that you're going to blink twice and you're going to be 65? And at that age, what type of massive amount of money that you're going to have come in through to actually help you get to the end of life? Probably another 20 years because she's in good health, keeps herself in good shape. Another 20 years. Right now, they're replacing 40-year-old, 50-year-old women in businesses. They're replacing them with younger models and AI. What are you going to do? Well, I'm self-employed, so I don't have a problem. Yeah, you're self-employed, but being a 55-year-old self-employed or a 65 or 70-year-old self-employed are two totally different things, my friend. Anyway, she got frustrated and didn't want to answer any more questions, so I just had to let it go. Because they don't want to operate in reality.
I work in a public institution, and the job is relatively stable. I've had several relationships in the past, but they all ended in breakups. Today, after a long time of hesitation and internal struggle, I finally gathered the courage to talk to you about my 40 years of ups and downs in love and the regrets I have. Let's start from when I was 20 years old. Back then, I was still in university, and while doing a part-time job off campus, I met and started dating a boy. We shared common interests, and that's how we got together. At that time, it really felt like love, and we were together for 3 years. Those were some of the most beautiful and innocent memories of my life. His family lived in a remote mountainous area of a small county. His parents were farmers, and he had 2 older brothers. The 5 of them lived in a shabby house that was just a few dozen square meters. Every time I visited, I felt a sense of oppression staying in that small space. Winters were cold and damp, but despite the harsh environment, it didn't stop the sweetness, happiness, and joy I felt being with him. One afternoon, quite unexpectedly, after watching a movie together, he suddenly pulled out a large bouquet of roses in front of dozens of people and proposed to me. In that moment, I felt scared rather than surprised. I panicked and refused him, pushing through the crowd and running away. I don't even remember how far or how long I ran, but by the time I got back to my dorm, the sky was already light. After that, I cried in my dorm for 2 whole days. He didn't have a house and his family situation wasn't good. Even though he treated me well and I really liked him, I couldn't imagine us getting married, having children, and living in a rented house. So I broke up with him. Looking back, that might have been the closest I ever got to love. At 25, I graduated with a master's degree from a 211 university in Shanghai and found a decent and stable job in Shenzhen. A colleague's sister introduced me to a local boy in Shenzhen. He had good financial standing, owned a car and a house, and worked as a buyer in a large company with a decent salary. When we first met, I thought he was a bit short, a bit chubby, and not particularly handsome. The only advantage was that he had money. His financial situation was much better than mine. I thought that if I married him, I could also get a Shenzhen household registration. He often took me out for meals, bought me branded bags, and gave me jewelry. His parents also liked me and were easy to get along with, so I went ahead with it. However, after 6 months of dating, I realized that we had a lot of differences. He never understood me, nor did he consider things from my perspective. We often fought, and I felt like I didn't love him enough to tolerate him. The emotional distance between us just kept growing. Honestly, apart from the brief happiness his gifts brought me, I didn't feel any love for him. Eventually, I broke up with him too. At 28, I met a guy through a blind date. He was a doctor, quite handsome, and only a year older than me. This time, I thought I had finally found love and happiness. But he kept avoiding introducing me to his family. After 4 months, with some pressure from me, he finally took me to meet his father. During that meeting, his parents bombarded me with questions, which I found extremely off-putting. Later that day, his parents texted me, saying they couldn't accept me, that I wasn't a good match for their family, and accused me of only being interested in their local prize catch. I felt insulted and humiliated, so I left the relationship decisively. By the time I was 30, I started to panic, afraid that I wouldn't be able to get married. I often cried in secret, went on endless blind dates, signed up for multiple dating websites, and met numerous people on weekends. But I realized I had lost the ability to love anyone. I wasn't interested in anyone, didn't feel like talking to anyone, and ignored most of the people who added me on WeChat because there were just too many. With my demanding job, I didn't have the time or energy for it all. I knew I wasn't bad myself, a master's graduate with a stable job in a public institution, but I just couldn't find the right person. The good men all thought I was too old. By 32, fewer people were introducing me to potential partners, and the ones they did were either much older or divorced with kids, which I couldn't accept. The few with decent conditions lived too far away or were too old. The ones who seemed suitable didn't show any interest in me. At 35, I became even more anxious, even desperate. Women have a biological clock, and I was worried that having children too late would be physically taxing, or that by the time my child was grown, I would be too old, or worse, not even around. I became so anxious that I was willing to rush into marriage, even a quick one. So I started considering divorced men, but only if they didn't have children. I was adamant about that, no kids, and I didn't want to deal with children. I know it sounds selfish, but I had my limits. At that point, I regretted my past decisions, feeling like everyone I met when I was younger was better than the ones I was meeting now. Eventually, fed up with my family constantly pressuring me to get married, I ended up with a man 10 years older than me who had been divorced. He earned 200,000 yuan a year, smoked, drank, and gambled. I couldn't stand it. We fought every day, and I had to help take care of his son on weekends. I couldn't take it anymore and broke up with him too. Now at 40, I'm still single. My family has stopped pressuring me and just lets me live as I want. Reflecting on my past, I wish I could go back to being 20 and start over, cherish the people who loved me and those I loved. I've missed out on so much. In this vast sea of people in these unfamiliar cities, if you meet someone who is willing to exchange true feelings, you must do everything to hold on to them and not let go.
Typical standard mode of operation for every single overly ambitious woman in the West. I could do better. I could do better. I could do better. I can upgrade. I just got off a call from a 6-figure, owns his own house, 2 beautiful kids, African man that lives in Europe. I'm going to just say that. I don't want to out him. But his wife, Western woman, they've been together almost 15 years. Just suddenly got up and just said, I want a divorce. Just straight out of the blue. Just no indications before. Both of them are professionals. He helped her get her freaking PhD. Remember what I told you guys about anytime a woman gains her status that is higher than yours, even though he's making more money than she, her status, what she defines as status, is her education. She had more than him. Then they will start to pull away. And if you don't identify that initially and put a freaking pin in it, you will end up losing that woman because her brain goes into hypergamy. If I'm better than him at this, I could do better myself. Anyway, she ended up freaking leaving him. He is devastated. He ended up buying her out. She got a nice payment. You don't have to pay her any alimony, but he is hurt. He said, Paul, I did the cooking, I did the cleaning. Because of my job, I had my own time. I'm making a lot of money. He's in great shape, but he's hurt because he put everything into this marriage. And this woman just up and left. At 44 years old, she went back out on the market. And I said to him, my friend, listen, do you realize that you have no problem? You don't have a financial problem. She didn't break you. You have all your assets. You still make a massive amount of money. You still live in the home that you built yourself. So you got a big house. So you had to give her some money. It didn't kill you. So you have nothing to worry about. He said, yeah, but it's still painful because it's something I built. And, you know, I this is my family. And I said, yes. What's bothering you is that your pride is hurt because the woman that you love decided to leave you. I said, my friend, the only reason that you're upset is because your pride has been hurt. It's unexpected. Your pride is hurt. She left you. I said, you, my friend, is a high-value man. You will never have a problem getting another woman. She, on the other hand, going to have a serious problem. I said, as long as your assets are protected, you're fine. She thinks she can upgrade on something that has no value to other men. That's the difference. That's the problem. Her degree isn't her sexual marketplace value. So I assure you, she will not climb as high as you're able to climb. I said the second you get a woman in your life and your kids tell her, hey, yeah, mama, daddy have a new girlfriend. Trust me, she's going to start to realize, oh shit, he's got a woman. I can't find an eligible man. Cooks and cleans, gives me money. I live house in Europe. You know how difficult that shit is? Ooh. If any of you ladies want to know a nice, handsome Ghanaian man that has a great job earning over 6 figures, let me know. I'll set you up. Yes, brother, I'm setting you up, man. I'm setting you up. Guys, I'm going to cut it short here. I just want you to understand that China is facing the same problem that is occurring in the West, but at least the women are talking about it now. The women are coming up and saying, shit, we screwed up. You ladies in the West should actually look at this as a serious warning and get it together. All right? So, my friends, listen, subscribe. Join the membership system. I'll put the link here again. Book a session with me if you haven't already. And always remember, my friends, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.